Hello there everybody and welcome back to my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. This is Season 2, Round 8. And as you can see, we are rocking an all new livery from this weekend onwards. Have a look at it. I really didn't think that our Season 2 livery was a step up from the Season 1 livery, so I just thought to myself, you know what? Let's make some changes here and there and bring a new livery. Nice English, Joe. Bring a new livery from this race onwards. So that is the new Joe H2O Racing, or should I say Joe H2OR02, as it's the second year of Joe H2O Racing. And well, look at it. I think it looks a lot better already. So we're now in Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last one from Paul Ricard, do go and check that out before you come back and check this race out. That's not the circuit, Joe, but we're trying to get out of Q1, which we should do nicely there, although that lap is not as competitive as I hoped we would be. So, pushing again to try and set a more competitive time, and easily it is more competitive. We've made a huge improvement on the last lap by at least half a second, so that's a competitive place to be. That's not a competitive place to be, so we ran off the circuit. But third fastest, that gets us through nicely. And now we're in Q3, trying to set a lap to get us on the front of the grid. Where are we going to end up as we go around the last two corners? And I feel like we nailed it that time, not using too much of the runoff area. What is our grid position at the end of all this? It is P3, so that is how we finished in France. So here we go, part 2 of what we started in France.
For lights out tomorrow. Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Joker. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Joker, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris, Perez and Antonio Giovinazzi, Schwartzman, Stroll, Sebastian Vettel and Gasly, Ocon, Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi and Artem Markelov, Mick Schumacher, Russell, Mazepin and Guan Yu Zhou. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So on the grid here in Austria then, what can we do? Can we do anything about the 2 cars in front of us? It is lights out and away we go. Both Mercedes then not getting an initial getaway very well at all. Leclerc is shot up on the grid. He's dived down the inside, taken third. I've now got right in his slipstream. Sainz is now on me, having not had a great exit out of turn 1 myself. Sainz is alongside, trying to get the inside line. He's gone down the inside, as you can see there. We're now switching to the outside to see what we can do, and we've just got such momentum off the exit of the corner there that we were able to get past Sainz. But now Sainz having another look on the left, but this is allowing the front 3 to just drive away, so I don't really want to be fighting Sainz too much, because the front 3 have now been able to get a bit of a lead because of it. And Verstappen has now jumped ahead of Sainz, so Sainz racing me hard there has cost him out. as now we've got a Red Bull on my tail. That is from Max Verstappen going after 4, but still not the worst fast lap we could have. Still in 4th place at the end of lap 2 then, and we're trying to push on. We're not really making the gains on Leclerc that I'd like to be making, and if anything, Verstappen behind me is the one making the gains at this stage of the race, but I've got enough power in my pocket to hold him back. We both have the same Honda engine unit anyway, so we'll both have very similar levels of power. Although someone who I don't think has any power anymore is that Haas that has ground to a halt, and that would be Mick Schumacher, I want to say. So yeah, that Haas has no power in it whatsoever. But back to cars with power, and Max is still on my tail as we go wide into turn 1, very wide, hitting that bump. I hope I haven't damaged the underside of the car. We've had some issues with that before. Max now trying to have a look, but he's not got the right position. He's now trying to have a look up my inside. I've given him space, but I'm going to get the better exit, although we've banged wheels. And Max is still side by side with me. We can't do anything yet until the yellow flag zone ends, which it does now. And we're just rubbing him a little bit as we try and go around the outside of the hairpin there, and Max has got the overtake completed on us. We are now down to P5. Sainz is in P6 right behind us, and then there's a little bit of a gap to Lando Norris, but I want that P4 back off Max Verstappen. We are going to take that P4 back. He's covering the inside, so I'm going to try and go around the outside and do what I did with Sainz and just get the better exit, and that is exactly what we have done. We're now ahead of Max Verstappen, and with DRS included, so Max is going to have a very hard time tucking up behind me there. We set a purple first sector doing that, and I really, instead of battling these guys, I really want to be starting to get after Charles Leclerc. Max now back down my inside. He's not leaving me alone, is this Red Bull, and we're now going around the outside again, and we've got the momentum. Max, I think, had to back out of that move, or we both would have had an accident. And now Sainz is getting involved with Verstappen. That's good news for us, because if he can keep Max busy, well, that's not very good news for us because we've run off. But if these two can keep each other busy, that helps us out. We can see Sainz there blasting past. Such momentum that Ferrari has. We've gone off the circuit. That's a replay then of us going off the circuit.
Now, everything's looking good.
And now Sainz is having a look up my inside, the second Ferrari. And I think there's been a bit of a nudge there as I've had to give him some space. Sainz has nudged me wide, and Sainz almost getting the move done, but we're now down the inside of the left-hander, and we are now ahead of Carlos Sainz. This is some entertaining racing, if only for 4th place, but this is some entertaining racing nonetheless. And Markelov then pulling off to the side, because I believe that is the end of his race with some kind of engine problem. Right, time for the first round of pit stops, and what I'm hoping is the only pit stop I have to make before the rain hits, because there is rain forecast a bit later in the race, and I want to be on the right tyre when it does, and I want to try and make this tyre last until the rain comes, which could be a master stroke move. Right, we're now tucked up behind Nikita Mazepin, and the safety car has come out.
Okay, watch your pace. We've been
So
informed
that
the safety car
is not good
out.
timing
There
for
appears to
me,
be
because
an
some of the
issue
cars
with
that were
multiple
fighting
vehicles on
me
the track.
can now pit while I'm running at a limited speed behind the Delta, and as you can see there, that has allowed Verstappen ahead of me, but it hasn't allowed Sainz ahead, so I can only assume both Ferraris had to stack, and it's not worked out in their favour. You can see Leclerc in P2 as well, because both Mercedes would have stacked, and that's not helped out Bottas either. But now we have a run on the front 4 drivers. Let's see what we can do. I'm not as close to Max as I would like to be though, but we're going to try and get past him nonetheless. We've gone wide into turn 2 though. That might allow Sainz a look down the inside. Sainz is having a look. Sainz has got it done, but we're now using as much momentum as we can to try and get back past him. Holding it around the outside. No, Sainz is still there. Sainz has got past. Whatever's strapped to that Ferrari is making it super quick. And for whatever reason, we just can't keep up with it. This is superb racing we're seeing here, but now we have dropped down into P6, and if we're not careful, Lance Stroll's going to be one to have a look. But I'm catching back up to Sainz because I want that 5th place back. So much so that I'm going wide there, not so wide there. But now we're back up down the main straight. There's a yellow flag behind me, so I can't imagine what's happened there as we go down the inside of Sainz. Take P5 when we've run off the circuit a little bit there. And I'm actually not going to fight Carlos here because he's already alongside me. And Stroll's having a look now. We're round the outside of Sainz and Stroll. And I've just managed to get the better exit and get ahead of both of them. Now Verstappen is just, he's gone at this point. This has allowed him to extend his gap to us and get after Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. Meanwhile, we're watching Sergio Perez, who's just had a spin of his own accord there. So Perez spinning off into the gravel. That's not doing his race any good at all. He's just pushed a little bit too hard there. Now Sainz is back on us. We tried to stop him going down the left there, but Sainz just pushing us out the way, saying, nope, I'm coming through like an adult. Stroll now right on me as I try and get straight back past Sainz. This is what this battling is doing. It's allowing Stroll to stay with us here in P7. So Stroll's having a very decent race up here. We're around the outside of Sainz. We did initially get it done and get the exit, but Sainz is still there, not letting us go. And I'm just going to brake as late as I dare, try and sweep round. And we've got the move back. Well, we're back out of Sainz, who now had to back out of that one. Right, Bottas into the pits. And Norris has got ahead of Sainz as well through all that. And some cars are starting to pit, but we're going to stay out until the rain comes. That is my strategy. Stay out till the rain comes. That might work for us. We're already running in P3. And some of the other cars behind us are now starting to pit as well. So what I need now is for it to start raining once Hamilton and Leclerc make their stops, which is what has happened. They've made their pit stops now, and as you can see, the rain is starting to fall and the track is starting to get quite slippery.
But I don't think we have cause to move on to a different tyre yet.
So Jeff's saying it's not quite ready for inters yet, so I've just got to try and hold it out. But we've got to the end of the lap and I'm thinking, you know what, I think this is pretty much ready. So I am taking that gamble to go on to intermediates because it's looking ready.
No more scheduled
And
pit stops.
as we come out of the pits, yeah, it's definitely looking quite wet now. So I think I've made the right decision there. But Norris has now got past me just as I'm building up speed coming out of the pits. But when he gets to the corner, he's going to find that I've probably got a lot more grip under braking, although Lando shutting the door in my face there. And that's not allowed me the best exit out at all. DRS disabled them, which is usually the sign that it is time to get onto wet weather tyres, and we should be able to get past Lando Norris quite easily around here just because we have the grip advantage. And that has enabled us to gain some positions. And the cars in front of us are in the pits. Verstappen and Leclerc are in the pits, which means we should be able to get straight back ahead of them. So this strategy is looking at working a treat, because we are now ahead of everyone who's pitted. Hamilton has decided to stay out on slicks though, and that's not going to work for him at all. He's going to lose quite a few positions there. We've got a safety car and Ricciardo's got a penalty. Vettel is out of the race, and I think I saw Leclerc is out of the race too. I'm not quite sure what's happened here, so we're going to see now. Leclerc's just driving around. There's a McLaren that's been spun by what appears to be... Well, I don't know what happened to the McLaren, but Leclerc just went straight into that. There was an Aston Martin that just stopped. Vettel, I believe it was, and Leclerc just piled into him. And there's just cars on the racing line as we now see Stroll arriving on the incident, having to stop, slow down. There's two cars in the middle of the circuit, so there's really nothing else for it but to bring the safety car out. Right, 4 laps to go. The safety car has come in. We are leading the way, and the few seconds advantage that we had has been wiped out because of the safety car. So that's really done us no favours at all. And if anything now, Bottas getting feisty to have a look up the inside. I'm braking as late as I dare. I've got a little bit wide. That might allow Bottas a look. But we've got more grip round the outside. That was until I got very squirrely on the throttle there. And Bottas, when I got squirrely, took a bit of damage to the front wing. And Stroll's gone into him. Stroll has gone into him after Bottas took damage as we got squirrely out the corner. And Stroll going straight into Bottas there. As now we start the last lap of the race. We've hit the curb and round it goes! No! We've lost the front wing! I don't believe it! I do not believe it! Right, now we have got to recover, and Stroll with no front wing still carrying on. But guys, I do not believe it. Start of the last lap, and we hit the curb too hard and lose our front wing doing so. And now we've got to try and make it back to the pits and hold on to as many places as we can. The rain has stopped falling now. Both me and Stroll without front wings, as you see me there going to Stroll. I'm now trying to get past him on the outside here. And Stroll going very slowly round the corner, and it's backing me up into the rest of the pack. And Norris now having a look down the inside, but he's now boxed in with Stroll as we try and go around the outside of the pair of them. We've left the circuit. We've tagged Stroll now. And Norris is going to have a look down the inside here. It is Lewis Hamilton picking up the unlikeliest of wins. But that mistake really costing me massively there. As we've gone from P1 to P6. Gutted. That is the only word for it. Gutted.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
I'm really struggling with that one. That one really hurts. That one really hurts. We were on the last lap, hit the curb too hard, and round it went. So Hamilton taking the win, Verstappen taking second, and our teammate Robert Schwartzman makes a Formula 1 podium in P3. Yuki Tsunoda is 4th, Lando Norris 5th. It's 6th for us. 7th for Ocon, Stroll 8th, Mazepin somehow getting 9th, and Carlos Sainz getting that final point. But Nikita Mazepin up in P9, that's an unlikely result. But, that one really hurts. You know, I feel like we had that win in the bag, especially after Bottas pitted. And you can see Stroll going round on that last lap with the front wing damage, full running into Bottas. We've really cost ourselves big there. Well, I'll leave you with the highlights reel once again. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon. TTFN, ta for now.